Hello and welcome back to Dicebreaker, where today we have a very special guest with us. It is the designer of Root, Pax Pamir, and John Company, Cole Wehrle. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, please do tell us a little bit about yourself and what we're going to be looking at today.
So I am the staff designer at Leader Games. I'm one of the lucky few people who actually works in this industry full time, and I try not to brag about it too much, but I love my job. And today I'm going to be showing you the game that we worked on here at Leader Games for the last 2 years, called Oath, which is shipping to everybody kind of right now over the next couple months. Everyone around the world will be getting their copies.
Okay, sweet. So Oath is it's something that you'll expect if you've played a Cole Wehrle game before. It's very dense, very sort of like asymmetric, and there's a lot to get through. But we're pretty excited about it because we've been talking about it on the channel for a long time. This is the first time we get to play, so I think we're just going to learn as we go. So over to you, Cole. Take us with your loving arms and show us what the hell we're doing.
So before I play it, I want to make a few caveats. So Oath comes with, for people who might be getting their copies physically, Oath comes with a tutorial which will teach you how to play as you play it. Mm-hmm. If nobody at the table has ever played before, this is by far the best way to learn, and you should follow the tutorial. And if you've played a game like Fog of Love or Jaws of Lion, you know you might be familiar with those card-driven tutorials, and Oath uses one. So even before you undo the shrink wrap on the card decks, it will tell you like, hey, start here, flip this card over, this is going to set up this thing. Now, when I'm at cons, I don't take everybody through that because those cards, all those tutorial cards, exist in situations where you don't happen to have me roped into a Skype call, but you've got me. So I'll teach the game a little bit how I teach it at cons. Now, there are a few other general things I would want to mention about how I like to teach the game. So Oath is a big game. It's not the kind of game that you can get every little intricacy out in the first, second, or even third play. So I like to teach it as a rolling teach. So what I'll do at the start is I'll walk through a couple basic concepts in the game, some places where Oath behaves a little differently than a lot of other games in its genre. And then we're going to start playing, and I'll kind of help every player through their first turn. And I use abbreviated versions of the first turn just to kind of get us through the first round. And then in the second round, I'll help you again through it. And then usually by the end of the second round, players have enough comfort with the system to kind of go their own way. And I'll just be mostly troubleshooting with them. So what is Oath? Oath is a political game. So, you can think Game of Thrones. Maybe Game of Thrones by way of Muppets is one way of just kind of thinking of the world, because there's a kind of cartooniness to it. But unlike a lot of political games, it has a different hook to it, which is the territory that is controlled by the winner, the game that is built by the people who played it previously, is directly continued in the next game. So there's no end in sight. And so if a game is won by a giant kingdom that has grown and fills the entire world, the next game starts within that kingdom. If the game is ended by a player winning without any territory, next game the world will be largely just kind of shrouded in mystery, and you will have no idea what's out there. So there's a lot of persistent state things. For this teach, we're not going to talk about any of that stuff. All of the legacy elements of the game, they come at the very end of the design. So after I finish the teach, I can talk a little bit about how those are going to fold in, but I won't get too specific about it. So here's a couple basic things about Oath. So one player in Oath is the Chancellor. Over here, this purple player. There's always a Chancellor in every game. And then there is a series of other players. Most of them will start as exiles. So here we have 2 exiles. We have the red exile and the yellow exile.
For context, by the way, I'm going to be playing as yellow, and Lolies is going to be playing as red.
And I am your Chancellor. Bow down before me, Muppets of the Kingdom.
True to life.
Yeah, good. No, it's one of those games that can bring out sides of your friends that you haven't seen, or exasperate sides that you definitely knew were already there. So in Oath, one player is going to play the Chancellor. The others will be either exiles or citizens. We'll just be talking about exiles for most of the teach. And the game has a very simple turn structure, which is the Chancellor takes their turn, and then both of the exiles take their turns, and we just kind of continue clockwise. There's no fancy turn order shenanigans that happen. And on your turn, you spend supply. These are like action points on this little track, and you spend that supply to take various actions. And then when you're done, you go to the next round. Now, in the bottom left of the map, you'll see there is a round marker, which is going to slowly advance each turn. And at the end of the 5th turn, we see if the game is over. Now, the game will end if the Chancellor holds this token. This is called the Oathkeeper token. And this basically means the Chancellor is fulfilling the game's victory condition. If the Chancellor is fulfilling the game's victory condition right here, then we roll a die. And on a 6, the Chancellor wins, the game's over, and we save the game state and prepare things for the next game. But if the Chancellor isn't fulfilling the victory condition, let's say yellow's fulfilling it, then this dice is not rolled. Now, that's how the Chancellor wins. How do the exiles win? Well, if an exile fulfills a victory condition, at the start of their turn, they will flip this Oathkeeper token over to its usurper side. And if at the start of their next turn, they're continuing to fulfill the condition, then they'll win the game. So basically, an exile needs to hold the victory condition for 2 straight turns. The Chancellor needs to have it when people get tired and sleepy at the end of the game. All right. Now, exiles have other ways of winning. Throughout the game, they might encounter these special cards called visions, which will provide them with very different ways of approaching the game. And we'll talk about those other victory conditions as they come up in play. Okay, so let's talk about some different piece types. So on the board, you'll notice that players have these big pawns. Your pawn is a representation of yourself and everything on your board. So here's the yellow pawn sitting here, and these all these pieces kind of live within the yellow pawn. They're all traveling along with the yellow pawn. In Oath, all of your actions are rooted to the position of your pawn. So it's like they extend out from your pawn. This is very important because if you want to do something in a faraway place, you usually need to travel there. In addition to your pawn, you also have player pieces that are kind of shorter. These are war bands. It's kind of like 2 folks or more folks carrying a banner. Your war bands are your military units. You also use them to mark control. So you'll see on the board, for instance, that yellow is right here, and yellow has 3 war bands sitting on their player board. Chancellor also has 3 war bands sitting on their player board. Now, if you conquer sites, you get to put your war bands on the board, and this shows that you rule a site. Now, unlike Root, where many players can have pieces in one place, in Oath, only 1 player can have war bands at a site. So in this case, the Chancellor controls the plains, the mountain, and the rocky coast out here. So they rule all of those sites. Now, sites have a few important attributes. So you can see, and I'll press Alt here to kind of zoom in on the plains, that every site has a number in the top right. This is the capacity of the site, how many cards can live at that site. And then in the bottom left, there is a special power or modifier. For the first couple turns of the game, we aren't going to worry about the special powers associated with each site. We're just going to worry about the capacity. So the plains here has a capacity of 3, the mountains 2, and the rocky coast 2. Now that number refers to the number of cards that can live at a site. Here we have our first card, longbows. And this represents a technology, a people, a group of folks who are really good at making bows. It could be lots of different things who happen to live at this site. Now, cards are very important in this game. All of the color of this world can be found on the cards. So it's worth spending just a moment to talk about what the cards actually do and their anatomy. So every card belongs to a suit. There are 6 suits in the game. Longbows, for instance, is a blue card. It's associated with the suit of order. And in the bottom of the board, you can see all the different suit names listed here, if you ever forget which suit a card belongs to. And they also have an amount of favor on them, which we'll talk about in a second. So this is the longbows card. And then the bottom, every card has a suit, and every card has an ability. The longbow's ability is a battle plan. It's got a little friend on a horse with a shield and spear. This shows that this card is used in combat. We'll talk about how it's used in combat later. Some cards have powers on them. Like, let's look at the elders here. The elders have a power that's an action that says action. You gain a secret, and some powers have costs on them. In this case, the elder's cost is 2 favor. So you have to spend 2 favor to use the elder power. Now, let's say on your turn that you do spend 2 favor to use the elder power. That favor is put right on the card. And the reason you put that favor on the card is to show that the card has been used for the turn. It can't be used again. And then at the end of your turn, this favor that you spend is going to go, is going to go to the bank that matches this suit. So here are the elders. We spent our 2 favor on them, and now we're going to send that to the Nomad bank because that's the bank that matches them. Now, in this game, the cash economy represents political favor, and it is a zero-sum economy, so that if everybody is spending time hanging out with the Nomad elders, the Nomads are going to grow in influence. And if no one is spending money with the Nomad elders, they're going to shrink in their relative influence. So you have to pay a little attention to where the money's going. Now, all players in the game start with 1 favor, except the Chancellor, who gets 2. And then every suit starts with 3. And this is kind of the only money that's in the game. So, and there are a couple exceptions to that. But if one player has a ton of political power, the other players don't have any. It's a relative zero-sum economy. Now, the other resource that players have in the game are these secrets. Secrets work very different than favor. They're a renewable resource. So you'll spend them to do various things on your turn, and then at the end of your turn, they come back to you. And you can play this entire game with just that same secret. So you can spend it on a card to do something, and then at the end of your turn, it's going to come back to you like that. Okay, does all that make sense for general terms? Okay, great. There's one more important thing that I have to explain, which is your advisors. So every player has a set of cards right here. These are called your advisors. Now, Oath, even though cards are very important in Oath, Oath doesn't use hands. Instead, you have these advisors, and you can only have 3 of them, and they can be face up or face down. And a face down advisor is an advisor you haven't played yet. It's like you have a hand and you're holding this 1 card. And you could travel around the board, and then you could play this card out to this site face up if you wanted to. Or you could keep it face down. You could also potentially play a card face up in your advisor. But if you have 3 face up advisors, you can't have any other face down cards. So if you have 3 face up cards here, for every face up card you have in your advisors, you kind of shrink your hand size a little bit. So that's just an important concept to keep in mind. Your advisors are in the same way that all the resources on your board stay with you, that they walk around with your pawn, your advisors walk around with you too, and they modify the types of actions you can get. And they show your personal affiliations. So for example, if you have a bunch of order advisors or nomad advisors here, it means that you have a lot of close affiliation with the nomads, which means it's easier for you to get resources from them. And you might have some really advantageous interactions with their different powers. Okay, so I like to start with that kind of big general overview because I think a lot of the actions in Oath are simple. They're very, very easy and short, and they don't present a lot of problems. However, when you play your first game of Oath, you're not going to know what to do, and that's fine. That is, in fact, part of the joy of Oath is figuring out how to plan and how to interact in all of the different options, because this game will not stop you from driving your little car right off the road. And sometimes it's the right thing to do. Okay, so we are now going to get started. So what I do usually when I teach this game at cons is I will artificially lower everyone's supply by 3 spots for the first turn. Now, the reason I do this is because if you tell a new player they have 7 action points to spend and your names aren't Kramer and Kissling, they're gonna get really scared and worried. And so I artificially shorten the very first turn of the game, and it just makes the game a little bit easier to chunk. Okay, so everything you need to know how to play this game when you're first starting out is on your player board. And if you could, whoever's running the TTS, just like alt over a player board, I'll kind of talk through it. I'm zooming in now, yeah. Perfect. Thank you. So first on the left, you'll see that you have this big list of this block of text. And this is really explaining a lot of the critical rules. So the first thing is you wake and you check the people's favor if you have it. We don't need to worry about that right now, but there are also certain powers in the game that are timed at the wake step of your turn. So just know that happens first. And usually you don't do anything during it. Then you act, and you're going to be spending supply to do the actions that are listed there. You can search for decks in the card, or for cards in the deck. You can muster to gain warbands. You can trade to gain resources. You can recover to discover relics, which we'll talk about later. You can campaign to battle, and then you can travel. So those are the different actions. And they all cost a variety of supply. And then at the end of your turn, you do the rest step where you basically refresh the board and kind of reset things to where they should be. So we're going to start with the Chancellor. And the first action I'm going to teach you is travel, which is the bottom one here. Now, travel costs 1 to 4 supply, and the amount of supply it costs depends on where you want to go and where you are. So if you're in the cradle, if you're in a region and you want to travel 1 region away, it costs 2 supply. Now, you'll notice the board is broken into these 3 regions: the cradle, the provinces, and the hinterland. And you should think about every site in this game as being kind of an island that is connected to all other islands, but at different distances. So regions in sites in the cradle are connected to sites in the provinces and the hinterland. If you want to travel from the cradle to the provinces, you spend 2 supply. If you want to travel 2 regions away, so travel all the way out to the hinterland, it's going to cost you 4 supply. Now, if you want to travel within your region, it costs 1 supply for the cradle, 2 supply for the provinces, 3 supply in the hinterland. Now, that means that the distance between here and here is a lot shorter than the distance between here and here. And if any of you have ever lived out in the countryside, you know exactly what that means. So we're going to start with the Chancellor taking a travel action. So the Chancellor is going to start by spending 2 supply to travel here to the provinces. Now, when you travel here, we're going to flip it over. Oops, I will unlock the card and flip this over. And you've discovered the Drowned City. Now, over here in the top left of the Drowned City, you'll see that it says 3 secrets and 2 relics. So that just means that when it's revealed, we take 3 secrets from the bag and we stack them on the Drowned City. And we'll talk about why that's happening in a little bit. And then we get to take 2 relics from this relic deck and put them on the site. Okay, so what's going on with these relics? Well, a few things. First of all, the Drowned City has a power. The power of the Drowned City is that if you start your turn at the Drowned City, you get to take a secret. So if you spend your whole turn hanging out at the Drowned City, you can get a secret, which is a good thing. Secondly, the Drowned City note has no capacity. So obviously this is not a great place to build a house. And so there are no houses can be built here. And then finally, in the bottom right, you'll see that there is a recovery cost. And that's the next action I want to talk about. So the first action the Chancellor took was to travel. The second action the Chancellor is going to take is they're going to recover. Now, these 2 relics exist in the Drowned City, and I'm going to reveal them to everybody. Now, normally these stay face down, and only the player who is located at this site can peek at them. So there are 2 relics here. Now, relics, you'll notice they look a little bit like denizens. They look a little bit like these cards, but they're shorter. And because they're so short, you can put them in your pocket, and you can just store them in your play area. They don't interact with your hand size. So these are just special items. Now, we have 2 items here. One is the Cup of Plenty, which is a very powerful item that will allow you to get resources more quickly. And then we have the Grand Mask, which if you're not the Chancellor, allows you to pretend to be the Chancellor. All right, so we have a couple options there. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to purchase Cup of Plenty. Now, what the cost of that Cup of Plenty is 2 coins, but you'll notice the coin icon in the bottom of the Drowned City is broken, which means that you have to burn the coins and break them and take them out of the game. So the Chancellor will do this, take these coins, and they go out of the game. And then they gain the Cup of Plenty, which they keep right here. And we'll talk about how...
Sorry, Cole. Is there any way for money to re-enter the game, or is that just that's gone for good?
It is rare. There are ways for it to come back, but it is not an easy thing to do. Now we're going to use this Cup of Plenty right away, and I'll show folks how. So the next action the Chancellor is going to do is they're going to spend 2 supply. Sorry, whoa. So we'll use the Cup of Plenty next turn. That recovering of the relic costs 1 supply. And this leaves the Chancellor with a single supply. Now, at the end of the turn, the Chancellor is going to gain supply depending on the number of warbands they have. So the Chancellor has 17 warbands, in their bag. And so that means that they're going to rest up to this amount. The more warbands a player has, the fewer actions they get on future turns. But when you end your turn, if you have unspent supply, you get to save it. So what we're going to do right now is the Chancellor is going to go ahead and rest and end their turn. And that would move their supply token up to the 17 to 11 spot. And then it goes up an additional spot because they had one unspent supply from the last turn. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Got it.
Cool. And then if there were any resources that were on cards at this stage, they would file down to the different banks. Okay. All right. Now we go to red. So let's talk a little bit about what life is like as a citizen or as an exile. It's not easy. So currently the Chancellor is the Oath Keeper. How did they get this? Well, they got this because the game's current oath is the Oath of Supremacy, which means that you have to rule the most sites. Currently, the Chancellor rules 3 sites. They rule the Rocky Coast, the Mountain, and the Plains, and no one else rules anything. So it's 3-0, so that they have it easily. Now, if you want to take this from the Chancellor, you have to build your own kingdom. That's the high priority thing to do. So what we're going to do with red is we're going to think about how we're going to go about building that kingdom. So the first thing that you're going to do is raise an army. Now, you can raise an army by using the muster action right here. The muster action costs 1 supply, so we lower our supply by 1. And then you put a favor on 1 card that does not have any favor on it or any resources on it. So you put on an empty card, and then you take 2 warbands. This is just how you get warbands. You turn your favor into warbands. The resource conversions in this game are like the opposite of a UA game, right? Like in a UA game, they're very complicated and you have to spend a lot of time thinking about how things are going to be converting. In Oath, it's like it hits you over the head with a hammer. It's like, hey, 1 coin is 2 warbands. Just it's always going to be 2 warbands. You're fine. Okay, so now we're going to take a move action. And we're going to spend 2 supply to move up here. Now, when we reveal this step, we see that it has 2 supply on it. We'll talk about this icon, this homeland icon later, but we'll get to it in a bit. And then over here in the top left, we'll see that it begins with a relic. Now, you are welcome. Is it Alexandra? Is that right?
Lolies is fine.
Oh, yeah. Lolies. Sorry. I wasn't sure which name to pick up. So you are welcome to peek at this card.
Okay.
Alt and Shift on Tabletop Simulator.
Yep. Alt and Shift on Tabletop Simulator.
Oh, cool.
This card is great. Now, this card is great, and it's especially great for a player like you who might be interested in conquering the whole map. Now,
you know me so well.
Unfortunately, it's very expensive. In order to buy that relic, you need to give the nomads 3 coins. Ooh. And you only have 1 coin. So you're kind of faced with a choice. You could, for instance, decide to go out and find a bunch of money and then come back and buy this, or you could ignore it and maybe come back later. So what you're going to do, though, is you only have 1 supply left, which is not a lot of supply. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you your first free action. So there are several actions in this game. They're called minor actions. They don't cost supply to take. And one of those minor actions is revealing a card that you already have played face down in your advisors. So here we have this Wizard School card, and we're going to go ahead and play it. So this is our first time that a card is being played. So we'll flip it up for the table here. When a card is played, you have to either put it face up in your advisors or at your site. These are the 2 places a card can be played. Now, some cards have a little tree icon in the top left. And when you see that tree icon, what that means is it can only be played at a site. Okay. So obviously you can't carry around a Wizard School. As magical as that would be, it needs to be played at the site. Now, when cards are played at a site, the suit is so happy with you. They're very happy the Wizard School was founded, and so they put you on the board of directors and give you a favor.
Oh,
Woohoo.
amazing.
All right, and it always comes from the matching suit. Okay, so now that didn't cost you any supply, and the reason is that when you get an advisor, you paid supply to get the advisor, and so now you have one, and so it's just if you reveal the card, it's like you're finishing that action that was left dangling. Okay, now interacting with cards also doesn't cost actions, and so we're going to go ahead and interact with this Wizard School. You'll see that the Wizard School says, "Hey, give me a favor," and then you'll gain a secret and then end your act phase. So that's a very good deal. And so this secret that you just gained, or this favor that you just gained, we're going to cash it in. It's a little bit like a Ponzi scheme. They gave you $1, now you're going to give it back to them. And then you are going to gain a secret, and your turn ends. All right, so when your turn ends, we do the rest step. We mouse over your warband stack and see that we have 9 warbands, which is going to put you here. But because you had 1 unspent supply, that will be carried over to your next turn. All right, and then any resources that were on cards go to the matching suits like this. So that those 2 favor that was spent, you recruited a little wizard army, and then you helped them found their school, and you patronized it, and so that all comes to the arcane suit. Okay, so at this,
right now, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a little looking a little wizardy that red exile. So the actions that we've talked about so far are travel, muster, and recover. So we're about halfway through the game's action structure. All right, are there any questions about the actions that we talked about?
No, I think we're all good so far. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
All right, good. All right, so let's take a look at Yellow's turn. So Yellow is in exile. They are confronted with pretty much the same choices that we're facing Red, which is they know they need to rule a bunch of sites to win the game, and they currently don't rule any. All right, whoops, 1 second. There we go. Okay, so let's talk through their turn. So the first thing that Yellow saw that to raise an army, they needed money. So the first thing they're going to do is try to gain money. Now, how do they gain money? Well, the most basic way to gain money is to take the trade action. And the way the trade action works is on an empty card at your site, you have 2 options. You can convert your secrets to money or your money to secrets. So let's start with the money-making way. Now, this is the little TED Talk version. So you're going to spend 1 supply, and you're going to share a secret with the little village that makes longbows, and they all clap. They've all clap politely, and they're going to give you 1 favor from their bank. Now, if you had additional advisors that matched the longbow card, you would gain an additional favor for every matching advisor. Does that make sense?
So
the amount of money you get is
2. I thought you said.
So the amount you get is 1. You get 1 favor plus 1 for every matching.
Plus card. 1 per matching. Right, got it. So
yep, and the matching cards have to be in your advisors.
Got it.
Okay, so but we've just gained our 2nd favor, which is great. So next thing we're going to do is we saw how. So that costs 1. We saw how Red played that card and got a favor, and so we're going to draw cards from the deck, or we're going to draw cards. So searching has a variable cost. If you are searching from the deck of the game, it is going to cost you 2 supply. Now, as visions are uncovered in this game, the supply cost of drawing in this deck is going to increase a lot. The other place to draw cards is in these discard piles. So almost every economy in this game is a closed economy, and that includes the cards. So every time you discard cards, other players can pick them up. Oh, there's only 1 card sitting here, though, in this discard pile. And we would be drawing this discard pile because it's associated with the region where our pawn is. So we're going to choose to draw from the deck. So we spend 2 supply to draw from the deck. Now, when you're drawing from the deck, you always draw 1 card at a time. This. Okay. Now, if you had drawn a card with a scary eye on the back of it, that's a vision, you would immediately increase the visions drawn. You have to announce to the table that you've seen a vision, and you have to stop drawing. And then you have to select which card you want. So I'll go ahead and do this face up so the whole table can see how this process works. So you have selected your 3 cards, and you may select any of these cards as potential cards to keep. So first thing you do is select a card. Now let's talk about the different cards we have out here. So first of all, note that they come from 3 different suits. You have a Discord card here, a Nomad card here, and a Hearth card here. The Second Wind gives you power to have battles after you finish battles. The Faithful Friend essentially gives you a free half turn. So when played, you gain 4 supply. Now, it's worth noting that this card has a couple of things going on the top left. This card is a advisor only card, which means if you're going to play it face up, it has to go face up here. And it has a chain on it. Now, this little chain right here in the top left means that if you play this card, you are stuck with it forever.
Okay.
Forever, forever, forever. So we just have to be mindful of that, because this card has an effect when it's played, and then it just sits. Your Faithful Friend just hangs out. Yeah. He's on your couch. You can't get rid of it.
Change to a bird.
Now we have this Memory of Home card. Now the icon here, this book with a page ripped out of it, means a burnt secret, which means if you use this power, you have to take a secret and take it out of the game. Which is a very dangerous thing to do. But if you do that, you move all favor from any one bank. So you can take all this wizard money and put it in the Hearth bank.
Whoa.
Whoa.
So this one's very powerful. Now, in your present state, I would probably pick this one. What else do you have here? You got this gun. All right. You got options. So let's say this card is selected. Now, a card that is selected can be selected even if this card was like a wizard school and had a tree on it, you could still play it face down as an advisor. An advisor that's face down is a card that doesn't exist yet, so it can still it can be anything. And when you play the card, you have the option of basically you have 3 options. You could play it to your site. You could play it face up to your advisors, or you could put it face down on your advisors. For the sake of example right now, what we're going to do is we're going to play this card face up at the site. And because you put it
at this one.
Oh, sorry, you're at that site, aren't you? Whoop, sorry. You're going to play face up at this site. And because you do that, the Hearth are very happy with you. So they'll give you a coin. And then these other 2 cards get discarded. And the discarding of cards follows a global rule, which is that if you're in the cradle, you discard to the region out, the provinces. If you're in the provinces, you discard to the hinterland. If you're in the hinterland, you discard back to the cradle. So these 2 cards are going to go sit right here. Okay. Now you have 1 supply left. And I am unsure what the best thing to do with that supply is. How much favor do you have? You've got 3 favor, though, which is a pretty good amount. So you could go investigate this piece. But let's have you... All right, well, we're going to keep your options open. I'm going to have you spend 1 supply and move down here. So next turn, it's possible that you could potentially look at this card and decide if you want to buy it. All right, now we progress to the rest step. Now you have 11 warbands in your bag, so you'll slide your supply up to here. It doesn't increase any further because you weren't banking any. And then any resources that were out on cards, like this secret, comes back to you. Sweet. All right. We have now finished the first round of play. And we have talked about the search action, the muster action, the trade action, the recover action, the travel action. So all that we have left to talk about is battling. And then we also have one other part of trading, which I want to talk about, which we'll talk about. I'll just explain it right now. So when you take the trade action, I mentioned how you could share a secret and gain favor. The other option that you can do is you can spend 2 favor and then gain 1 secret per matching advisor. So if you spend favor and you know who these people are, you have a face-up advisor, a good relationship with them, then they'll start telling you their secrets. So the trade action can be used to do either kind of conversion. Okay.
Interesting.
So we're at the Chancellor with the Drowned City. The very first thing that the Chancellor does during the wake step of their turn is they get the secret. So they spent the night at the Drowned City. They had a weird dream, and now they have a second secret. Now, secrets are really useful. There's all kinds of things you can do with secrets. A lot of the spells in the game and things like that are associated with secrets. And so it wouldn't be a bad idea for the Chancellor to start looking for things to do with their secrets. So we're going to have the Chancellor go ahead and take a search turn. The cost of searching from the deck is still 2. So I'm going to spend 2 supply from the Chancellor. And we're going to reveal these cards. 1, 2, 3, and then I'll go ahead and do this is the last hand that I'll do face up, and then you'll all be on your own very soon. So here we have some options. Let's just go through these cards. So the Tinker's Fair allows you to buy and sell relics with other players in the game, and this card is always placed at a site. Warning Signals move any war bands to and from your board and sites you rule, and then you have to discard Warning Signals. So what this means is if someone tries to fight you, you can suck up a bunch of warbands from the board to help defend. Now, this little battle plan, you'll note this battle plan looks a little different from the longbows. So if a battle plan is blue, like the Warning Signals, it can be used by the defender. If it's red, it can be used by the attacker, and if it has a blue-red gradient, it can be used by either.
Okay.
All right, then lastly, we have the Great Herd. When played, you may swap the Great Herd with a card at any site. And that is a very good, this is a very useful card, which I'm going to show you how to use very soon. So we'll go ahead and select the Great Herd. And then these 2 cards get discarded. And that follows the global discarding logic, which means they go out here to the hinterland. Now, so that cost us 2. Now, the Chancellor wants to keep control of their little empire, and so the last thing that they're going to do is they're going to start. You know what? I'm not going to have you do that because I want red. Red got this big army. I'm going to have them do the first battle. All right, Chancellor is going to. I'm just trying to think about what would be a reasonable thing for you to do. Okay, let's have the Chancellor. The Chancellor's going to spend 2 supply to move back here to their capital city. And then they're going to reveal the Great Herd. Now, the way this Great Herd works is when played at a site, the nomads love you. They give you $1. I'm so happy you did this.
Thanks, nomads.
And then you can swap this with any other nomad card. So the nomad card can go out here and the elders can show up.
Okay, I see, right.
Right, so the nomads travel around the board, and also a lot of nomad powers, after you use them, they have to be discarded. So they just kind of flow through the board. Okay, you've got 2 supply left. Let's see, what do you have here? This card. Okay, we're going to reveal that you have horse archers. This card will be revealed as an advisor, which means it's just going to sit in your advisor stack. And then what you can do is you could spend a secret for 1 supply, and then you collect to trade. And you would collect 1 from the nomads for taking the trade action, plus an additional 1 because they know who you are. You've got these horse archers helping you, and then you gain 2 additional favor. All right, now you've got 1 action left, and we're going to just go ahead and have you use it to muster, since I think armies are going to be important in this game. So that 1 supply is spent here. You could put it, let's say, on this card, and then you take 2 additional warbands.
Would I have spent 0 supply as well because of the Cup of Plenty?
Oh, yes, you would. You would.
Match it.
Thank you. So the Cup of Plenty, I forgot, because now that we know what trade is, we can explain what the Cup of Plenty does. So the Cup of Plenty, you'll see it in the left that it has that like gloved hand with a coin. That means that this action takes place during the trade action. And it says spend no supply if you're trading with a card that matches your advisors. So that supply was saved and will allow you to actually muster twice.
Nice.
I don't know why that coin flew off. There you go. It should be right here. Okay. Now at the end of your turn, we do cleanup. Secret is returned to you. All of the favor goes to the various banks. And we take a look at how many warbands you have. You have 13 warbands, so you'll rest to this point. Okay, that's probably the last I'm going to be helping you because you understand most of the game. Okay, now we're going to go to red. So here's what red's going to do. Red is going to start their campaign against the Chancellor. Red does this first by spending 2 supply to move to the mountain. I'm going to back up that for a second. I got a better move for red. Red first is going to hang out with the wizards.
Yeah, classic Lolies.
Classic. Red always hang with the wizards to get some favor. And then red's going to spend 2 supply to travel out here to the mountain. Mm-hmm. And then red will spend this 1 favor, taking the muster action, so that costs an additional supply, to get 2 more warbands. And now red is going to begin. So Lolies, you're going to begin the first battle of the game. Now, campaigning always costs 2 supply, no matter how big or small the campaign is. Now, in a lot of games, the battle action is called like battle or attack or destroy or something. And in Oath is a civilized game. We call it campaign. We're going on a campaign. And the reason why we're going on a campaign, we call it that, is because a campaign action, Oath is a game about a generation. And so a campaign action could be like a little battle, or it could be like a big battle, or it could be a whole war. So it can mean lots of different things. So the campaign action has several steps. And the first thing you do is you have to find a target at your spot. So in this instance, it's the Chancellor.
How dare you?
I know. So now that you've selected what player you're going to target, you have to pick your objectives. And this is where Oath is very different from a lot of other war games. So battles in Oath can be narrow or broad. And so when you select your player, you can select lots of things that they own. So for example, in this instance, you're going to select that you would like to battle for the mountains and the rocky coast. So you want to start a campaign against the Chancellor to take both of these 2 pieces of terrain. Mm-hmm. Now, for every objective that you pick, you'll see there's this little shield here with a blue die on it. So we have to add a blue die to the Chancellor's defensive force. Now, the Chancellor is also the Oath Keeper, which is a bummer. It means that people like him by default because he's doing a good job of answering their needs. So he gets an additional blue die. Now, this blue die is a wicked thing. It has a couple of blanks on it. It has a 2 shield face. It has 2 faces with 1 shields. And then it has this 2 times, which multiplies all of the other faces, including other 2 times. So we have to be a little mindful of that. Now, the Chancellor, the Chancellor gets their defensive dice. And then you collect dice for each of your warbands. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 warbands, which means you have all of these.
Oh my God.
Okay, so it seems like you're going to crush them. But there are a couple things to know. So the way this is going to work is the Chancellor is going to roll these 3 dice.
Oh, right? Boy.
2 times 0 times 0. And then to this sum, whatever the sum of this dice is, they're going to add their actual defenders. So the Chancellor has 2 plus 0. And then, you're going to roll these dice, and you need to do better than 2.
Good luck.
Right? Okay.
Whoa.
So the hollow swords are halves. So you need 2 hollow swords to make a hit. The full swords are 1 hit. So in this case, you did 4 hits plus 5, 6 because of this face. And that 1 skull means that this guy got so overzealous, he did a bunch of damage and then died.
Oh,
so you would have just crushed him. Now, I'm gonna rewind this a little bit because I don't want to saddle the Chancellor with my bad roll. And the Chancellor has an important option before combat starts. So the Chancellor gets to activate battle plans. And the attacker does too. Now, red doesn't have any access to battle plans. You don't have any battle plans as advisors, and you don't rule any sites that have battle plans. But the Chancellor, he rules the site where they make his longbows. And you'll see that power is a plus or minus red die, which means as a defender, he takes away 1 of your red dice. Now, the Chancellor has an option. The Chancellor could activate their horse archers. If they did this, they would lower your red dice by 3, but then the horse archers would be discarded. And that discarding follows the general rules of discarding, which means to be discarded to the provinces. Chancellor, do you want to discard your horse archers?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
All right, get
gonna
out,
let
get
you
out of here.
take the
Okay. You're
mountains
such a
and the Rocky
wuss.
Coast.
I know, such a wuss. Okay, Chancellor, roll those blue dice.
All those horse archers I've just got sat around for no reason.
All right, go ahead and roll the blue dice.
Oh, yeah. Oh, come on. Oh, that's better.
Okay, 3. Now, 3 is 3 plus 1, 2 for a total of 5. So Lolies needs to roll more than 5. Oh, sorry, roll again. Don't let me grab it from you. Okay, so Lolies rolled 2. Now, you have the option of killing your own warbands, and each one that you kill will add 1 to your roll. So you rolled 2, and you could go 3, 4, 5, 6, and that will give you the win.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Lovely. I can't believe it.
So yeah, the way combat works in this game is that it is often a question of how much blood the attacker wants to spend to take their objectives. Now, when the battle's over, the loser has to lose half of their guys. So one of these warbands goes back to the bag. The other runs back home to daddy, sit on the board, and then Red is able to put her pieces out on the board, and she can put them however she wants. She can put them like 2 in the mountain and 1 here. And yeah, that's and actually, sorry, one small thing. The mountains is hard to attack in, so it's always -1 red die. So we're going to go ahead and remove one of your guys here too. So it was a very, very tough battle indeed. I don't think I took that earlier. Don't worry. Now that you've taken it, you'll have that advantage for future battles. Okay, so that was rough, but at this moment, Red owns more sites than Purple.
No.
So Red will take the Oathkeeper.
Oh wow!
Now this means that if we do get to the 5th turn, and the Chancellor doesn't even get a roll, and if Lolies holds this for her at the start of her next turn, she becomes the Usurper, which means that her defensive bonus is 2 blue dice.
Mm-hmm.
And if she starts her turn with the Usurper, so that means you held it for 2 turns, basically, you win the game. So you are well on your way to winning this game, although you are holding it in a very fragile way. Now, you only have 1 supply left, and you have almost no resources to your name. And so what you're going to do is go ahead and want to end your turn now. 12 warbands will put you here at 9+, and then you carry over your last supply. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. A couple other notes about campaigning. So I talked about how you can campaign for sites. That's the most common type of campaigning. The other way of campaigning is if you're in a spot with someone's pawn, you can attack their pawn directly. And there are 2 ways you can do it. You could try to banish them. If you're successful, they lose half of their money, and then you get to choose where they go. You can move them anywhere in the game. So you can just you'd be like, boo, get out of here. You're not coming out there. Or you can also, or you could also battle them for their items. You could try to take the Cup of Plenty from them. The defensive value of the item is listed in the top right. Okay.
Cool.
All right. You all know all the actions. So yellow, take your turn.
Oh god, that's a lot of pressure on me on the first person who's got a real action. Okay,
well, currently you're losing.
Yeah. All right, let me remind myself what this all does. Okay, so.
Oh no. Still losing.
I can't believe that in the space of 2 turns, I went from Chancellor on high to just getting pummeled in the mountains.
It's all right. You have a very large army. So you'll
and I plan to use it.
Oh, is this is your secret, right, ladies?
Oh yeah, sorry, Lily. You should, Lois. You should take that back.
Oh.
Okay.
Does this get put? Should that have gone somewhere at the end of it?
And this should go here too. Whoop.
Oh, they do have a lot of money. Those wizards.
Those wizards are amassing.
Those wizards are the 1% right now. Okay,
1%.
Oh, Matthew Jarvis. I might buy this relic because I've got 3 favor. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a very reasonable thing to do.
Yeah, so I might grab that because it gives me a free warband every time I move.
Oh, wow.
And so this 3 goes to the nomads.
Mm-hmm. Is that because it's a nomad step?
Yep. The cost of the relic will tell you if it's burned out of the game, if it's sent to a specific suit, or anything like that.
Sweet. Okay. Then I will. Sorry, and that cost me a recover supply, right? So that should be 1 supply to do that. Then I'm gonna trade some secrets with the wizards for some resource.
Yep. And so you get just 1.
Yeah. Then...
All right. Now, if you haven't peeked at this card yet, you should, because it will give you some interesting options.
Yeah.
And you can let me know if you have any questions about it.
I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spend a further 2 actions to move, or 2 supply rather, to move to the Drowned City.
Yep.
Then for a free action, I'm going to reveal that card. Oh no, that card actually can't go there, can it?
Yeah, it goes there. Yep.
No, because
but this is a good
zero,
place for
right?
you to be, because it means that at the start of your turn you'll get a secret.
Okay, so actually, hold on. So, so I'll take that 2 supply back. Go back here. I'm going to reveal this here, the Errand Boy.
Sure.
I don't really want him as a thing.
And then this that will give you a favor matching the beast suit.
More cash money. I will then I will travel, and that was a free action, right? Playing a card.
Yep, playing a card was a free action because you already had it face down.
Then I will travel to the Drowned City. Which will give me a muster for free, or a warband, and I'll have 2 actions left, which I could use.
Like drawing from the deck is in your spot, it's a reasonable place. You usually want to try to find a couple of advisors, and in fact, one of the main things that Lolies is probably going to want to do on their next turn is going to be to draw some cards.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I might do the same then. So I draw 1 at a time, and I draw 3, right? Oh, that's a vision.
Yeah, it's a vision. So you have to stop. We advance the vision track. Now drawing from the deck is going to cost you an additional supply. Let me take a peek at this.
Sweet. Made it more expensive for everyone else. Good.
Here's what I'll say about visions, and we'll talk more about them later. But there are 4 different victory conditions built into Oath. Only one of them is the active Oath condition. The other ones are kind of lurking outside of the game, and the visions will give you a peek into how they work. So, for instance, you could have a vision that activates a different part of the game, or you could have a vision that actually is the exact same thing as the current victory condition, and the only thing that makes it special is that a vision can be completed faster.
Yeah.
So the way visions, all the vision cards are structured the same way, which is to say, at the start of your turn, you win the game if 3 visions have been seen and you have this condition true.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are 5 vision cards. 4 of them are correspond to the different victory conditions in the game. And the last one is the false vision, the conspiracy, which allows you to steal things from other players. It's a little hard to pull off. If you get the conspiracy and you want to be secret about it, you can look at this play aid on the top right of the board area, and the last box will tell you how to use your conspiracy.
Okay.
So that you can do it sneakily without other players realizing that you have the conspiracy.
Until they see your hand, just sort of like
what's this? Okay, cool. So you can select one of these 3 cards.
So do I not have to take the vision?
You do not have to take the vision. If you don't take it, it will go into circulation.
Interesting. Okay. Let me have a look at the other 2. That's cool. Okay. They're all quite powerful, aren't they? I think I'll... Yeah, no, screw it. I'll grab the vision. So these are going to go into here. Because I'm in the provinces. And that cost me my last 2 supply. So I'm done.
All right.
So rest, I grab my book back. There's no... I haven't played any coins. I just took some. And then I've got 10 warbands, so I go back up to 9+. And I'm good. I'm done.
All right, excellent. Now it's time for the Chancellor, who can consider taking retribution. or not. Okay, so you have a very large army.
So they call me the Chancellor.
So you are faced, I think, with two choices. One choice is you can head to the mountain and you can try to dislodge this red player. And if you do that, you'll end back with your owning 3 sites, and you'll take the Oathkeeper back. And that's a very reasonable thing to do. But because your army is so large, you have some other options too. So, for instance, you could move to the steppe, or you could move to this place, and then you could target all of the neutral sites. Now, the way the neutral sites work is if you're at a site that is not controlled by a player, it's controlled by the bandits. And the little mnemonic we have is this tiny little gray warband right here. And the bandits function like a player for targeting, which means that if I want to fight against the bandits, I could fight against every site the bandits rule. So attacking red will only yield you up to 2 sites total. If you come down here and attack the bandits, you could target this site, and this site.
Does that get me involved in the fight because I'm there, or am I just...
No. You're
watching from the side.
You're just on the sideline,
right? So, yeah, that sounds good. Okay, so I'm going to travel. So it costs me 2 to travel to here, which then flips over.
Thank you. You found the marshes. The marshes have a capacity of 2. There is 1 relic here that you can peek at. And the relic will cost the burning of a secret to buy. Now, the marshes are one of the few sites that has a negative site effect, which is that whenever you search in the marshes, you have to draw 1 less card.
That makes sense. Okay, so to campaign would cost me 2 supply.
Yep.
And to recover would cost me 1.
That's right.
So, what's the cost? Okay, it's going to cost me a secret. That's pricey. I'm not going to spend my secret to get that. That's a bit too rich for me. I like holding on to my secrets. So what I'll do instead is, there are no cards at my site. And I didn't have any cards in my advisors either. Nightmare. Right, okay. I mean, so I can't even trade either. These marshes.
And also you can keep the supply now that your army is getting large.
That's true, yeah.
Saving a supply is not a bad thing, especially, as people go on, it's like really important to somewhere have like a weird half turn so that you go into like the final part of the game with full actions.
Okay, so I'm not going to pull the shiny thing out of the mud, but what I will do is fight the bandits, I think.
Yep. So the way this works is you'll spend your 2 supply. And then for every place you want to target, it's going to cost it adds a blue die to the defender's pool. And so it just looks like this. Now, because you're attacking, so you may choose actually how many pieces you wish to attack with. You do not need to attack with everybody. And the reason why you might want to attack with fewer is because your guys might kill themselves by getting overzealous.
Right, okay. So yeah, I don't lose them unless I roll skulls, right?
Yep. And so the bandits basically have like 1 imaginary warband at every site. So their roll is going to be 3 plus the roll.
Okay.
And you will be gaining 1 red die because of your longbows.
Okay. Well, tell you what, I'm gonna outnumber them, but only just. So I'm gonna spend 6, or put 6 of my warbands into the fight, plus the 1 for the longbows.
There you go. So that's a total of 7.
And then they'll have 6. So the odds are in my favor.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Quite bad. They rolled 9.
Oh, what?
The very strong bandit. So they rolled 9 because it's 3 times 2 is 6 plus 3
oh my
is
god!
9. And you rolled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you need to kill 8, 9, 10, and then plus you lost this guy with the skull. So that was a bloody thing that just got those.
How did I survive as Chancellor for this long?
And then all of your warbands here, you may redeploy among these 3 sites.
All 4 of them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, tell you what, we'll do 1. We'll do 1, and we'll do.
Oh, don't worry about that one, Matt. Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that one. You don't.
And then
need that
you are
one.
welcome to keep forces, and you don't have to take a side if you don't want to, but I think you should. You're welcome to keep forces in your cohort, your player board, and that sneaks this away.
Hey.
Okay, so another note about the benefits of ruling. So I haven't talked about this yet. Now, when you use a card's special power, you can use any special powers on cards in your advisors. You can also use special powers in cards that are where you are, right? So if the Chancellor, if Red were to come over here, Red could use the errand boy.
Mm-hmm.
In addition, you can use cards always if you rule them. So, for example, the power of the elders you could use, the power of memory of home you could use, no matter where you are, because you rule it. That is the biggest benefit to ruling sites, is that you get to use the powers of the sites in Absentia. So the errand boy, for instance, this is a great power. It just allows you access to another discard pile. So for instance, if I draw some cards and I throw away a card that I really wanted, there were 3 awesome cards, and I picked one and then I shed a tear and threw the other 2 down to the site, I could draw again and use the errand boy to draw from a different discard pile.
Right. Is that only because I'm the Chancellor as well? Is that anybody?
It's just because you rule this site. If somebody else were to come to rule, they would get that power.
Okay.
All right. I think saving that last supply makes a lot of sense, unless you want to dig this thing out of the mud.
No. Can I wait? So I could use the action card without spending supply, right?
The action, yeah,
the
correct.
Wizard School.
Yep. The Wizard School.
It would cost me a favor, but
it would cost you a favor, but you'd be the Wizard School is a very reasonable power to use.
All right, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to put this on the Wizard School, and then I'm going to gain a secret as a result, wherever the secrets are. Oh wait, do I gain a secret off of somebody else?
Nope.
Right.
From the bank, which the bank is up in the top right of the board.
That's why I can see it. There we go. Okay, so that I think is me finally. So this goes to the wizards over here. I didn't spend any secrets, so that's fine. I've got 18 warbands now because so many of them died. So let's go to here +1. So I refilled all of my supply.
Yeah, you've got it.
Yeah, it's amazing. The corpses of my beloved warriors have come in very handy.
They're so efficient.
Training with the wizards, I guess.
I feel, it was sad, but I feel so much lighter after the defeat.
You married Kondoed your army.
Now we run back to red. And so this is, there's an interesting spot because the Chancellor did so bad at that battle. There's a world where you could scrap a little bit of folks together and try to push on. But you would need to probably fight for at least 2 sites. If you fought for only a single site, you'd be tied at 3-3, which means the Chancellor would keep this. So this might be a better turn for recovery and rest, and getting some cards and building up your favor or some interesting card powers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you were to draw, remember that drawing from the world deck now costs 3 supply, and because there's a vision on top, it means that if you take a draw action, you're only going to draw this 1 card.
Oh yeah.
Drawing from the discard pile only ever costs 2, and there are 8 cards in this discard pile, so you have a lot to draw from.
Okay, then I'm gonna do that. I would like to search. Does it still cost 3 if I draw from the discard pile?
Nope, just 2.
2.
Yep.
Okay, so move that 2. And I still get to look at 3 cards, though?
Yep, you get to draw 3 cards from that pile.
Oops. Okay, so look. Okay. Okay, I'm going to take this one.
Okay, and then the other 2 get discarded here.
Over there, okay.
All right. Now, if you wanted to, you could draw again if you'd like. It's been interesting to watch folks talk about the strategy of this game, because you can play the whole game without having any advisors, or you can play with having all 3 right away. If you're low on money, getting a bunch of advisors, especially advisors that match cards on the board, is a good thing. So this is a good time for probably another draw.
Well, I was going to ask because the taming charm, the action there says if I discard those symbols, a beast or a nomad card at a site, I gain two favors from the matching favor bank. Does it count that I'm technically over here? Because
so whenever it says that's a great question. Whenever it says your site, they mean the site where your pawn is.
Okay.
So for instance, you could move your pawn over here and use the taming charm on the Great
Right.
Herd, or you could move your pawn up here to the steppe and use it on the errand boy. Or the elders for that matter. So there are lots of things. Or you can spend this whole turn just taming cards to make money.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of want to tame a card. So to move to the hinterlands from here, it would cost me 2 supply?
That's right.
Okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that to move here. And then I'm going to use Taming Charm.
Yep. And so you put a secret on that card to show that it's been used, and she's allowed to use this card because she rules the mountains. If she didn't rule the mountains, she wouldn't be allowed to use this card. Now, this is actually a good time to show some of the consequences of a card being here. So, for instance, if this card had been in her advisor, she would always be allowed to use it. Because it's on the board, it's like a public resource that anybody who occupies that spot or rules that spot can use. Okay. So that discards that card.
Yep.
Discarding follows the usual rule, so it always goes out to the next site, and then you get 2 from the Nomad Bank.
Lovely.
Can you keep using Taming Charm as well, as long as you've got secrets? So it's not like once you've placed a secret on it, it's done for that turn.
You can't spend. That's a great question too. You cannot put costs on cards if they already have costs on them.
Okay.
There are some cards that allow you to clear cards early and use cards multiple times, but we don't have any out right now.
Oh, do you know what? I made a terrible mistake.
I've made a terrible mistake.
Fine. What were you saying at the beginning? If I want to move within the hinterlands, it will cost me
3.
3. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's the little circle, isn't it? Little circle movement. The recycle move.
Yep, it's the recycle move.
Okay, I should have done that a little bit differently, but it's okay. I think I'm gonna do the draw action again for the advisor. I think now. So I'll be drawing from this deck over here. Right. I use 2. I draw from this deck, which is great because I know what 2 of the cards are already over there.
Oh yeah, because you discarded them there. Yeah, very clever.
Nope. Stop it.
There's always at least one bit in our Let's Plays where Lolies just like shouts at tabletops.
that is the story of my last 6 months. I feel like I shout daily.
Okay.
Let me know if you have any questions. But I agree with you. This one has some interesting consequences for you.
Well, naturally, that would be the one you pick. I'm dreading it now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going with a theme here with the cards I have chosen. So,
and then, if you wanted to, you could play it face up at the site or face up at on your board.
Oh yeah, that's free, isn't it? Yeah. I need to remember the cards well like that. So that so like this vision I've got, is that also free to play?
Yes, and visions, in fact, when you play them face up, they will go face up on your board, so they free up an advisor slot as soon as they're revealed.
So theoretically, like if you had the win condition for a vision, could you just play it at the end of your turn and hope that no one stops you by the start?
Yes, all the visions are timed so that they're only checked at the start of your turn. So you always do have to defend it for at least a turn.
Yeah. So if you can last a round, then you can win straight away, rather than the two rounds.
Yes. And all visions, not only do they have to be revealed, they also they all have the precondition of 3 visions have been seen. So currently 1 vision has been seen. There's another one sitting right here.
Yeah.
But we need to get to the 3rd vision out of 5.
Got it. Okay.
I am going to reveal this, I think. And I think I'm just going to do it in my hand.
Ooh.
Okay. All right. Press gangs.
Oh, wow.
Gives her the power to muster on cards that already have resources on them. So you
I
can
had
just
that as
keep
an
mustering.
option. But yeah, I'm taking the vision.
So currently there's nothing to muster here. If you wanted to, you could muster this card. You could place this card here, or you can keep it in your hand.
I'm going to keep it in my hand for now, and I think I'm going to rest for now as well, because that'll bring me like to 9 plus 1.
Yep, you've got it.
Which I think is good.
All right, that brings us to yellow.
Okay, so
You sound like you got a plan.
I'm very much behind, but I need to do some things. So I think what I'm going to do is... okay, so I'm going to travel for my first action over to the step, which costs me 2, but then I gain a warband. I'm then going to...
Why did you gain a warband? Did I miss something?
Because of my dragon skin drum.
Ah, right, cool.
Which I bought. Oh, does that dragon skin drum give me +2 blue dice to defend as well?
Only if someone wants to take it from you.
Oh, okay. So if they're attacking the drum rather than a location.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, in general, it's very... taking items from someone can be very costly because they'll squirrel them away somewhere.
Oh, should I have got a secret for starting my turn there as well?
Yes, for starting your turn here, you should have gained that.
Sweet. Okay, cool. I knew there was a reason I was in there because it's useless otherwise. Okay, cool. So then I will. Quick question, and Matt, don't read into this too much. If I attack the planes, is it just the attacker gets +1 red die, or is it if you control the planes, you get +1 red die?
So the way it works is whoever is attacking is going to get +1 red die.
Because red is always attack, blue is always
because red is always attack,
Okay,
and then
sweet, yeah.
like for the mountains, whoever's attacking gets -1 red die.
Right. So it's actually favorable to attack the planes. Okay.
Yep.
Which I mean, I hate to break to you, man.
So
Sounds pretty
open.
How dare you? I am your chancellor.
good. Sorry, who are you? Okay, right.
You don't remember that time that you got money just for having soup, nice soup at home? Like we had such a, such a lovely kingdom going, money and soup. Paid to eat soup, and now it's in ruins. Ungrateful exiles.
Okay, so I have moved. I'm now going to muster. So I'm going to place a coin on. I mean, the wizards are pretty rich, so I'm going to spend it on the beasts. Give them a little bit of cash, which gains me another 2 units. And mustering costs 1 supply. So now I am going to campaign. And I'm going to campaign against the steppe and the plains.
All right,
no.
So just picking them apart. All right, so the way that this campaign works is first, let's gather some blue dice.
Mm-hmm.
So 1 for each target, for each site that is targeted, and then 1 because the Chancellor is the Oathkeeper. And then the Chancellor's defensive strength here will be 3 plus the result of the blue dice.
Okay.
So how many red dice do you want to roll?
I'm rolling them all, baby.
I would suggest it now. Because you're attacking in the plains, you gain a red dice, but that red dice is lost because of the longbows. Okay. And the Chancellor has no other battle plans to activate, and neither do you, yellow. So you'll blue rolls first, or sorry, the Chancellor rolls first.
Oh.
All right. The magic number is 3 plus 3 is 6, so you need.
It's not
7.
too bad.
Okay,
Yeah,
I've got 6 dice.
And in this instance, this is a moment where the game really shows its wargamey origins, because you will win this battle. The question of this roll is how many people are going to die to take the hill. All right.
Oh
my goodness.
3, 4, 5.
That's not too bad.
You need to kill 2 of your own pieces.
Okay. 5.5.
Speaking of someone that had to spend about 7 pieces just to.
So,
yeah,
do I need to get 1 higher than his result, or do I?
Yes, you
need
do.
to be
Yeah,
higher?
you have to get 1.
So my extra half does nothing for me.
Your extra half does not do it.
All right, cool. So 2 warbands die.
I think I'm resolved at having halves in any game I've ever done. I tried to keep one in a game, and I was just like, "Hey, you have a half a point. It's just a half point. You can win by a half a point." And people were like, "No, well, how does it round?" And I'm like, "Well, it's just a half point. It doesn't round. It's preserved." And I thought, well, this is clearly not worth the effort.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay, so these 3 pieces, one of them dies, and the other 2 are returned here.
Back to daddy, as he said.
Yeah, back to daddy. And now you may redeploy any pieces on your board across these 2 sites. This is optional. If you wanted to, you could keep them all, although in this instance, you probably want them defending. Okay, now at this instance, we have a 3-way tie. The Chancellor will continue to hold the Oathkeeper.
Yes.
You are now a Chancellor in exile out in the marshes and this weird lake that you found. And you have yellow. There's 1 supply left to be spent.
I might muster again. So because I control these cards, can I muster onto these ones as well, or is it just
no? You may only muster at your spot. So actions always originate with your pawn.
I'm gonna have to give the wizard some more cash, but that's fine. Okay, cool. Or do I trade? No. Yeah, I'm going to muster. Just make sure I've got some people to defend myself. So that gives me an extra 2. And then that's me done. So I give all of the stuff to the people that need it, or whatever that means. Then I have 7 war bands. So I'm 1 less action than I should be. Or point, rather. And then that's it.
All right.
And we advance our turn track here. All right, now we are nearing the end of things, and I want to just introduce the very last action, the very last thing that we haven't talked about yet, which is citizenship. So many chancellors fall into the position that you are in, Matt. It's not you. It's just a part of life. This is a part of life that you're encountering now. Because you're barely holding on, and it's not clear if you're going to be able to win by yourself. So you have a very powerful thing, which is you have this Grand Scepter. Now, the Grand Scepter allows you to, 1, you can peek at any relic in the reliquary. So you can peek at any of these at any time. Now, you don't have these relics. These are locked away in the Imperial archives. But the other thing the Grand Scepter does is that you can offer citizenship to any exile. Now, what is citizenship? So an offer of citizenship works like this. In the offer of citizenship, you can exchange resources with them. You could give them a bunch of secrets to entice them to become citizen. You also must give them 1 of the relics in the Imperial Reliquary. You have to. So you could say, all right, I would love Red for you to be a citizen. I will give you this item. And you can let Red peek at that item, right? And if Red accepts, they get this relic. They also unlock a character trait of the Chancellor. In this case, the Chancellor would become decadent, which changes a little bit of how they play. And the most important thing is that when that happens, the red player would click the citizen button. Whoa. And they would join the purple team. All of the red warbands in play would then convert to purple warbands.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, wow.
So now red would be on the Chancellor's team. Now, this doesn't mean that red can't win. So the Chancellor still wins the usual way. The kingdom will still continue if on the 5th turn a 6 is rolled, on the 6th turn a 5 is rolled, etc. And they have the victory condition. But the next Chancellor, so in the next game, the person who gets to be the Chancellor in the next game, if there is a citizen, it may go to the successor. And the successor is the person who holds the most relics and banners. We haven't talked about banners yet, but basically right now the Chancellor holds 1 relic. If Red was made a citizen and Red got to 2 relics, they would become the Chancellor in the next game. So Red will basically be helping keep your kingdom up, but Red is also principally interested in becoming the next in line to the throne. So that's an option. You can gain an ally and a liability if you want to go down that path. Now, we haven't talked, while I'm rounding out the rules here, we haven't talked about these 2 things over here. And these are the game's alternate conditions. So I mentioned at the very start that Oath has 4 victory conditions, and there's always 1 that is active, and there are 3 that are kind of like buried. The one that is active in our current game is the Oath of Supremacy, which means ruling the most sites. The other 3 are the Oath of Protection, which is the oath where you hold the most relics and banners. And then there is the Oath of the People's Favor and the Oath of the Darkest Secret. So the People's Favor goes to whoever people love, whoever has this thing called a banner, and the darkest secret goes to whoever has the banner of the darkest secret. Now, banners are ideas, right? So like if you hold this, people love you, and you show their love by putting a little heart on a banner here. Now, these are special relics that you can use the recover action to buy. And in general, they're kind of auctioned, where in order to buy the banner of the people's favor, you need to spend more favor than is currently on it. And in order to buy the darkest secret, you have to spend more secrets than are currently on it.
Right.
Now, there are a couple of little like funny elements to how they work, which we won't bother to go in here because it's just a teaching game. But basically, the banner of the people's favor is hungry. It will keep eating your favor every turn. And the banner of the darkest secret is secretive, which is you can only buy it from players if they are if they're in spots that are with suits that are unfriendly to them. So the details of recovering are listed on there. We don't need to go into them now. But basically, when you're playing those games, they're very like kind of fully featured. There's a lot of weird ways to sort of play around these two relics. The reason why I'm mentioning it is that the succession condition is hold the most relics and banners. You could, for instance, Red could spend 2 favor and purchase the banner of the people's favor, and then she would hold 1 banner and maybe one relic here, and so then would be winning on the succession condition.
Okay.
That was a big block of rules there, but that's the last block of rules. For folks who might have just gotten their copy and who are watching this video, we go through the whole walkthrough without really explaining how these work, and then at the end of the walkthrough, there are a couple pages that say, "Okay, you've made it through everything. Here's how citizenship works. Here's how the different relics work, things like that." So you can find that kind of at the end of your playbook.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
Quick question: can the successor only be a citizen?
It can only be a citizen.
Okay, interesting.
And if you get anxious about a player who's getting close to becoming a successor, the Grand Scepter also has the power to exile.
Oh,
and you can find this on the back. You can, if you give a citizen 5 favor, you can kick them out of your empire. So the problem is you lose a lot of popularity when you do that, which is why their favor is transferred. And in fact, if they are the Oath Keeper, you lose even more popularity. And if they have the people's favor, you lose even more popularity by kicking them out. But that is always an option.
All right. Well, okay.
I should also mention that all those citizenship powers are linked to this relic you have, this Grand Scepter. And this can be taken.
Yeah.
Someone could fight you and steal it from you,
yeah.
and then they can use it to make themselves citizen.
That's fun. Oh wow, yeah, that's great.
It's like the guy who stole the scepter in the Houses of Parliament, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the...
Tapping yourself on the shoulder and going, "Now I
think it's me now."
Okay. All right. Okay. So I think what makes sense for me to do. Wait. So searching, I'd draw 1 fewer card, wouldn't I? Okay. I'm going to spend 2 supply to search this deck. Because I only get 1, don't I?
You only get 2 because the Marshes lowers it by 1.
Oh, it cost me 2. Sorry, I'm getting confused between the cost and the... Right. Okay, let me pick up these. Oh, wow. Okay.
Is that a good or well?
You know what? For the sake of... I'm gonna put this one. I'm gonna discard this one over here, and then this one I'm going to play on the site.
Okay.
Whoops! It's wrestlers.
Wrestlers.
So now they're just wrestling in the marshes.
Of course, you picked that.
This is a defensive battle plan. So when anybody wants to fight you, If you sacrifice one warband from your force as a defender, then you get an additional blue die.
Do I get a favor from?
Yes,
blue?
you do. From the order, you get a favor.
Perfect. So then what I'm going to do is trade by placing a secret. I don't have to spend a supply because of my cup. So I'm going to place a secret on the wrestlers to get another favor. Then I'm going to... How much supply do I have? Okay. Wait. Right, I'm going to... You know what? I'm going to travel to the mountain by spending 2 supply. Then I'm going to trade again. Discard. Okay, that's not going to help me right now. So I'm just going to trade with them and get a wizard, an arcane favor. Oh, I just realized that I did the wrong thing, but it's fine.
I was going to say, you can't muster now, can you?
Yeah, I was going to muster, but it's fine. It's all fine. Tell you what I can do is... Okay, yeah. So I'm actually then going to move here.
Whoa!
By traveling.
This is my town now, buddy.
And then I'm going to muster. Who should I give this to? Tell you what, I'll give it to blue. They don't have loads. So I'm going to muster 2 warbands into here. So I don't rule that site, do I? Because I'm a pawn rather than warbands.
Correct. So you are still allowed to use these powers because you're visiting, but you just can't use them when you're not there.
Gotcha. But I do rule the Drowned City and the marshes.
Correct.
So I'm going to move some of my warbands onto there.
You would have to deliver them. You have to drop them off.
Oh, okay. So you have to move your pawn there. God, yeah. Okay. Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna spend more favor. This can go to the nomads, and I'll get another 2 warbands. I need to rebuild my army after the beating I've taken.
It can get big quick, can't it?
So I think that's my turn because I've spent all of my supply. I've got 15 warbands, so I go back up to here. This goes to the favor. Oh, this goes to nomads. I think this secret comes back to me as well. I think that's me. Yeah. All right. Lolies, you're up.
Okie dokes. Okay. Oh yeah, so I was gonna start by using a search action again.
Card heavy.
Okay.
How does the hand limit work again? Sorry, Cole?
So the way it works is you can hold as many cards in your advisors. You can hold up to 3 cards in your advisors. Any number of them can be face down.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's really all there is to the hand limit. If your hand limit is full, so if your advisors are full, you can draw a card, but you have to discard one of the cards that you've been holding on to.
Got it. And can you discard an advisor? But oh no, you can unless it's locked, right?
Yep, unless it's locked.
Got it. Okay, sweet. Big decisions from Lolies.
I know. I will play this face up. Flip-de-doo-dah.
Ooh, there's the warning.
Oh wow.
And that means I get a favor right from the nomads. And then I would like... Hold on. I'm gonna do that thing that Matt was doing. What's this called again? When you trade, is it? Trade.
Yep, trade.
So I will gain a favor for that. And then does that cost us a trade costs 1 supply? And then I would like to muster on that same card, seeing as that's something I could do.
Oh, you can do that, can't you?
By plopping that on there. Get myself some warbands.
Oh, and there's no limit to that, right? So you could presumably just muster on that card repeatedly. Is that right?
You could. Everyone is going to cost you 1 supply, but you can just keep.
That's really good.
Yeah,
you could just keep jamming. Press games.
Oh yeah, maybe I will just keep doing that then.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, just build it up. And then remember, you get 2 for each. Yep.
Okay.
How many times have you mustered? You've mustered. Okay, twice. Yep.
So be free.
Yeah, just keep doing it.
Wow, the Rocky Coast sure is populated.
I'll just use it all. Why not?
I think this is a
YOLO.
very reasonable thing to do.
Oh wow.
All right, now at the end of your turn, this giant stack of favor will go to the nomads. This is important because you may not have a way to make all this favor back. So they're usually like that big burst is a very good thing to do, but because the nomads don't know you, it's a lot slower to get that money back than to spend it. And then you will get your secret back into on your player board. And you have only 4 warbands.
Oh no!
Which I'm happy to say you qualify for that barely.
Okay, good.
And you're in a good spot. All right.
I love the idea that secrets come back to you, and I really like the idea that they're the same secrets, and it's just been long enough where you're just telling them the same story again, and they're going, "Oh my goodness, here's some favor."
All right, that brings us to yellow.
I like the idea that they're just like, oh, I love this one.
This is my favorite story.
Okay. Right. What the hell am I going to do? I am going to trade 2 supply.
Wow.
And get myself 2 favor from Arcane and Beast. Then I'm gonna move for 1. Hey, bud.
Hey, how's it going?
And I'm gonna muster. And I'll muster from.
I don't like how this last turn's gonna go.
Yeah, from you and from. Oh, the nomad's pretty rich. I'll give it to half. Which gives me 4. And it's 2 actions, so I'm done.
All right.
Well, everybody is geared up for the last turn here. Now, usually in a demo, we talked about this earlier, that I'll oftentimes just play through the 5th turn to make sure everybody has a chance to take all the different actions a few different times. Of course, Oath has a variable gaming end. So if playing a full game, this could in fact be the last turn if the Chancellor has held on to the Oathkeeper at the end of the turn. And when we advance this round marker, they'll get to roll this purple die. We have a tradition we play on TTS, which is if the roll fails, we make the dice larger. And then, it will always end at the very last step. If you do get to the 8th turn and no one has yet won, you resolve the kind of final tiebreaker right here to determine the victory. This heavily favors the Chancellor. So the Chancellor really does want to make it last to the end. I'll say on the other side of things that the game can actually end earlier than 5 turns if players aggressively draw from the deck, get those visions out there, and then fulfill a vision. You can win as early as the 3rd or 4th turn too. Wow. So the game does have a fair bit of turn order variability, and it's just something players should be aware of when they go into their first game.
I just realized that I should actually have another warband because I moved.
Oh yes, you should. Don't forget your drum. All right, so shall we spin through this final turn?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Okay.
On, Chancellor, what you got?
Yeah. Heck with it. All right, let's do it. Let's throw down, shall we? Right. So I'm gonna trade a secret here. I don't have to spend supply. Oh no, I do have to spend supply. Sorry, I don't have a matching advisor. Okay, so
Oh, so you shouldn't have used that last time.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I tell you what, I won't take it this turn.
No,
I'll just spend it. I forgot that I'd got rid of my archers. It's fine. Right, okay. I'm gonna muster a couple of little war bands like this. Did I spend the? That'll be one supply. Boop. Then I'm gonna. Tell you what. How many things do I have? Not enough. Yeah, not enough. 2 to 4 supply. Darn it. Okay. All right. Oh, you know what? Let's just go for it, Wills.
You know that this will make Lolies win, right?
That's fine. No, because I've got other places.
Oh,
Look,
okay.
Don't question the Chancellor. Look, I didn't end up in this position just because, you know. I ended up in this position because of my terrible military strategy.
I assume you ended up in this position because of nepotism. That's the only thing I can.
I'm going to campaign here and here.
All right. Now, this is going to be quite a big battle, and it is going to engage a rule we haven't talked about yet, which is that if you're targeting here, all of these war bands, they aren't just going to sit around. They will help. You might have enough. This is a big battle. We'll see how it goes. So yellow, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and will benefit from 2 blue dice on top of it. And your little strike force is 9. So you'll be rolling 9 dice, -1 and then +1 because of the planes and longbows cross each other out. So, and then I don't think there are any other battle plans either one can engage with.
Oh no! Okay, restless.
So odds are that you can win this battle, but it will cost you most of your force. There is also a chance of loss.
Costly victory is my middle name. Let's go for it.
Matt, do you want to activate Restless? Because then you can sacrifice one of your bands and I'll get a defense.
No, because you're defending.
Yeah, right, but that'd be great for me.
The Restless don't want to join the attacking force. They're only into defense. Okay.
There you go. All right, go ahead, Yellow, roll your blue dice first.
Uh-oh.
Good roll.
All right.
Good roll.
So that's a good roll. So,
uh-oh.
Let's see, 4, 5, 12, 15 by my count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Wow. 15. All right. So a roll of 16 will do it. Quite possible, but it will take most of your force through the grinder.
Okay. So I need to decide how many I'm rolling with, right?
Yeah. You should roll with, spoiler, roll with all.
I should roll with all of them. Yeah.
I don't want to be 9. An armchair general, but
yeah. Okay, so wait, hold on. That's 7, so I need 8, 9. So 9 dice. Okay. And I get. They cancel each other out. No.
All halves.
Come on. Oh, that's that's really not good.
That's not great at all.
4, 5, 6, 6.5.
6.5.
I don't think you even have enough men.
I can wait. What did you roll,
6.
Wills?
15. You need
50.
You need 10. You need to kill 10 to win.
You rolled 6. Yeah, so you need 10.
I don't have
you are
10.
unable to do it. So if that happens, you lose half of your force.
Oh no!
Oh my god!
That's
poor Chancellor. Now, so this is a reasonable time. Just make Yellow an offer of citizenship.
Brought this on himself.
Yeah, Lolies, do you want to stop Wills from winning? Would you like to become a citizen? Well, he will, right? Because
he's in a good spot. Yeah, he'll be able to take.
So we could team up here. I can give you this if you'd like to take a look. The second.
No, I'm good.
Well, you sure you don't want to look at this? You sure you don't want to? It can't tempt you with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you've been a pretty weak Chancellor this whole time.
Imagine
I'm actually
glad
what
we could do together.
I'd be glad to see you fall.
This is a classic situation of waiting too long to ask for help.
I mean,
Lolies, he wants to make a Nick Clegg of you. Don't do it.
He's asked me this is like his last chance saloon, and I'm not a last chance saloon kind of gal. I got my own thing going on here.
So did you want to come to my dinner party? Like pointing to his burning house.
yeah.
It's the last turn, so and I can't offer these to anyone else, I don't think. So I'm gonna spoil it just because this is what you could have won: is an oracular pig.
Oh. An oracular pig.
Oh, how cute is that?
I know, but you turned it down, so here we are.
Yeah, I don't want it.
I hope you feel bad.
It's very cute though. Look at his little feet.
I don't think I can do anything else. I have 17 more bands though. Great. +1. So Lolies is you.
All right. Oh, this is what I'm gonna do. I would like to travel over here using 2 supply.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would like to... Can I now attack here and here?
You'd have to move to the drowned city, right? Or
yes, you have to be in a spot. So like when you're moving from the Rocky Coast, you could move to the drowned city.
Oh yeah, let's just pretend I did that.
Yeah. No, you're good. Okay. And now you could certainly attack. You want to attack these 2 spots? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You are quite able to do that.
So those
you
belong
sure you don't
to...
want the pig, Lolies? So you sure I can't tempt you for the...
I'm very, very sure. So he's got 2 defense dice, and I'm going to use all my guys, I think. 2... Wait, if I use all of my guys, does that mean I have any left to place down?
You will be able to place down anyone who survives.
Okay, cool. 2.
Yeah, and he will get 3. He'll get 3 blue dice because of he's Oathkeeper still. And then if he wants to kill one of these 2 guys,
you have to kill them off the site.
Because on the site it's in your force. But this could, I don't know. You could make it sting more.
I feel like Wills could come in and just steamroll it though. I'm gonna leave it for now and use it as a backup. My last line of defense will be restless.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna kick your butt. By rolling these. Oh, hold on. Oh no. Oh wait, hold on. Can I reveal this card, this advisor that I've got first?
Oh,
a free action, right? So yeah.
Okay, then I shall do that. I'm gonna flip this over, and it's the second wind card. So after I'm victorious, you may travel and then may campaign spending those. Oh. I'm gonna. It's fine. It's done. You've seen it now. Right. You got to roll first, right? Have you rolled?
Oh, but you don't have a favor. Oh yeah.
Oh, it's not bad.
It's 4. Jeez.
4 + 2, so 6, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Come on.
That's a lot of dice. Oh, that's not good.
4, 5,
yeah, 6, 7, 7.5.
But I lose 1.
You lose just 1. And now to slightly amend your turn so you can use this wonderful card, if you would have just taken a trade action right here.
Okay.
That will give you everything that you need.
Yeah, pretend I did that. Yeah.
All right, so it's a small retcon.
One of my warbands dies, right? And one of them goes in my...
Yep, that's right. And then you are welcome to divide any... you could just put 1 down, for instance. And in fact, with this card... you probably just want to go small, and then you could travel here if you'd like.
Yeah, you bet I will. Hello.
Now, one little thing about a tactical consideration: if you campaign here, you just have to fight these 2 friends. If you campaign here, you will also have to fight all those folks. So you could purposely do a smaller campaign.
Oh,
that would be a little easier to win.
I think I've just realized that.
Or you could try to break him right now.
We just could just try and beat my butt later. Yeah, I'm just.
I think the small fight is probably a little better because the large one is going to be a hard thing to win. It's possible to win it, but it'll be tough.
I'm just wondering if I should have put more warbands down on the other cards.
You're welcome to make that adjustment. You haven't started the next battle yet.
Mm-hmm.
So if I fight Wheels on the step, he's only got 2 warbands plus 1 defense die.
Yeah, if you fight just on the step, yeah.
Yep, and he'll benefit from his longbows, but that's just going to subtract 1 of your red dice.
Okay. I might just place one more down here. Okay, fine. Let's go. I've got 4 dice. That's not a lot of dice, but we're doing it.
No.
Okay,
You roll
so
first, right?
I'll roll my 1, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yes!
awful.
There you
Yes!
go. Easy.
Get in. Okay. Oh,
wow.
Oh.
thank you.
All right, so you'll have to sacrifice 1 warband to push you over the top. And then one of these is lost to the bag. The other one runs back to the board.
Mhm.
And then you may redeploy any number onto the step.
Okay.
Now, this redeployment doesn't matter too much because if he comes down to fight you, like no matter where there are, because your pawns here, they're going to fight. One thing that I didn't mention is as you walk around, you're welcome to pick up your pieces and like for instance, if you're getting ready to travel next turn, in a hypothetical next turn, you could gather up 2 of these warbands before you leave.
Right. Okay.
However, you can't gather up the last warband.
Mm-hmm.
Can you
can't
do that at any point during your
vacate.
turn?
As long as you're moving. So whenever you leave a spot, you are welcome to
take as many
drop
with you
off
before.
or
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Oh,
You're kind of always you freely transfer them.
to use the second wind, I should have scrapped one of these favors, right?
Yeah.
And put a
And put that on the
there?
card. You got it. That was excellent use of that card. Okay, we round out with yellow. Red controls all of the
Oh my
world.
goodness. This is Inish all over again.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It's got a lot of warbands though.
yeah, I mean, like, because we're about to end the turn early, like, I shouldn't win doing this, but I can win this turn, because we're gonna finish off this turn because we're doing a little demo. But I'm gonna spend 2 spy to move to the Drowned City.
That musters for you as well, right?
It musters for me. Yeah,
that relic is so good.
Take this guy with me, and then I am gonna campaign with my last 2 supply, and I'm gonna fight the Drowned City and the Rocky Coast. That seems pretty weak.
Okay.
That won't win it for you, right?
Well, I'll have this as well, right?
That will put it as a tie. So you need to
okay.
at least
All
one
right.
of those
Fair
Yeah.
enough. No, my bad. I'll take them. I'll take the mountain as well. Is it only attacking in the mountain that does it?
No. If it's part of the campaign, you have to deal with
campaign
it.
Okay, so it's either 1 less dice or 1 more person that I need to pick between.
Right.
I guess I'll take 1 less die, right? Because I've got a lot.
I think that's a reasonable pick. And then so that's going to be 3 blue dice plus an additional blue dice because she's the Oathkeeper. And so you will get these. The defensive force in this instance is 1, 2, 3 plus the result of those 4 dice.
Yeah.
I'm looking for battle plans that might affect things. The wrestlers. This is a very good reason to use
sacrifice.
wrestlers. It will cost one of your guys, so you'd be giving up control of this, but to add a blue die when you've already got 4 is pretty good. Because the blue dice compound. Like once you get to 3 or 4, then it's like
the 2 times is
they become a lot stronger than a warband.
So could I sacrifice the one that's in the marshes? Because then I wouldn't be giving up.
Fighting it.
Has to be. Oh, you're not. Oh,
yeah.
darn.
I'm attacking the mountains, the Drowned City, and the Rocky Coast.
Excuse me.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's do it.
Yeah, go for it, Lolies.
He just goes into my bag. Warband. Okay, cool.
Yep, and so that's going to give you another one. All right, go ahead and take that roll.
Woo! Give me ×2 and lots of good ones.
Oh, that's very good. All right, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16.
Oh my god.
17, 18 is the defensive strength.
Holy crap.
It is possible for you to win this, but that was the roll that Red needed.
Jeez. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Your little wrestler who jumped off a pier in the Drowned City really made a difference.
Goddamn wrestlers. Okay, so I'm obviously gonna roll all my dice. So I'm gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So
11, and so there are 10 of these, and then you'll plus 1 for your bows. Anyway,
Which is
the bows and the
minus
mountain are going
minus
to
one for the
cancel out,
mountain, yeah.
So you need 11. I'll just clone a die. There
Sweet.
you are.
Okay. So I'm going to need some doubles for sure.
You'll need some doubles, and then a lot of this force is going away. There's a good chance.
Here we go. I'll do the bigger roll over here on the space. Oh god, that was a terrible idea.
Whoa! You have
Okay.
so many doubles.
I'm gonna have to do that one again.
I'm gonna roll these for you.
Yeah.
Penalty roll. Okay. I am counting. We can gather these up here. So
I don't know that. It doesn't look like it's enough. Although I can kill people, right?
yeah, you can kill a lot. You'll kill a lot.
Fine.
You have a lot that you can get. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you need to kill 7 of your warbands.
Oh, you can do it.
Sorry,
right?
you need to kill 8 of your warbands.
Does that include the people dying from dice?
Oh no, it doesn't. So in fact, you lose 3 for the dice.
Yeah.
And then you need to kill an additional 8.
Wait,
So, which won't give me enough. Right?
Yeah, that's all of your.
No.
That's all of your
8
people,
will
right?
just give you enough.
Oh, because Lolies got rid of one.
But hilariously, you can win because this will push you to 19 if you do this.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that happens, Lily will lose one of her warbands. The other one comes back. But you do not have anybody to garrison the empire you just.
Yeah, no, that's what I was worried about. Yeah.
So Lily holds the Oathkeeper. Holds the Oathkeeper.
Oh, Lolies, you took it at the end. Unbelievable! Wow.
There you go.
Yeah, those two times can really punch you in the face.
You have to be careful. As the campaigns get bigger, they get a lot riskier.
Yeah.
So normally we would roll the purple die, but the Chancellor does not currently hold the Oathkeeper, so the game would advance to its next round. But hopefully this gives you a pretty good sense of how the game would go. Now, if we got to the next round and the Chancellor hadn't usurped Lily's lead, she would flip her Oathkeeper token over to the usurper, and this means at the start of her next turn she would win the game. It also gives her a better defensive bonus, so now she gets 2 blue dice instead of 1. Now, imagining a world where she won the game, these sites right here, so basically all the sites that she ruled would slide up towards the cradle. They'd fill the cradle in provinces, and that would form the basic map for the next game. Then in Oath, the game deck is about 50 cards, a little bit more than 50 cards. But there's a library of 200 cards, all unique. And what would happen is she would select from the suits in her advisors, the one that was the most common, or in this case, this is a tie, she would pick between these two. And that would inform the cards that are added into the game. So all these cards that we were discarding throughout the game, 6 of these, we put them all in a stack, and 6 of them, along with all the cards held by the losers, right? So all these are loser cards. No one likes them. They all go to the stack, and 6 of them go out of the game. And then we looking at the winner's advisors, she'll pick either of these suits. And let's say she picked Order, for instance, because she thought this was the card that won the game for her, or maybe this one. Then we go to this order and we add 3 of this suit, 2 of this suit, and 1 of this suit. And those come from the archive. So 6 new cards come into the game, 6 old cards leave the game. So yeah, and then any if she had any relics, like let's say she had taken the Cup of Plenty by the time she won the game, that would be seeded into the Imperial Reliquary. So she wouldn't get it for the next game, but she could give it to, an heir or a rival or something like that. But that hopefully gives you a sense of how the Chronicles grow.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
And then that would affect like the victory condition next round and stuff like that.
Right? Yep. So the winner, if the winner wins on the oath, they get to pick any of the other 3 victory conditions to be the active victory condition. If a player wins on a vision, the victory condition always matches the vision.
Right. So I actually had a conquest vision, but nobody else was drawing them, so it was kind of useless.
Well, you also needed we had to have all these visions out. So the next one, the one that was locking the deck here, was the conspiracy, which you can burn a secret to take 1 relic or banner from a player whose pawn is at your site, but you have to have at least 2 advisors that match their advisors, right? So for instance, if you wanted to use the conspiracy to steal the Chancellor, well, the Chancellor's relics would be safe because they don't have any advisors. But let's say the Chancellor had this, you would need 2 advisors that match that advisor.
Wow.
Sweet.
All right. There you go. Well, thank you so much for letting me teach this game to you. It was fun.
Thank you for running through.
Thank you for taking the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it was my pleasure, and hopefully we covered all the bases. And I apologize for any small rules transgressions I might have made, but I think we mostly kept the script. Should I say anything else?
Yeah, no. Tell us where people can find more of you and what we should be looking out for next.
So Oath is currently it is on boats or in customs or in people's hands right now. They'll be seeing it soon. I want to mention that we have a ton of resources about this game that you can find at leadergames.com/oath. You'll note, for instance, that some cards, when you mouse over in the TTS, they have FAQs associated with them, and you can see we have a big digital FAQ that has a huge card database. So if you have any questions about how cards interact with each other, you can find your answers there. And we have lots of other fun tools, including a tool that allows people to track and share their chronicles and things like that. Folks who are interested in following the work of Leader Games can find us at Twitter at Leader Games. And you can find me. I mostly just ramble about design on my Twitter. You can find me at Cole Wehrle.
All right, sweet. Thank you very, very much for coming and joining us, Cole. We had a great time watching my entire army decimated.
Just collapse over and over and over.
My chancellorship just in tatters at this point. No land, nothing to my name.
So thank you very much for that. Go and check out Leader Games and all of the fantastic stuff they're putting out. We chat about Root all the time. We've been talking about Oath a lot because we've been really excited about it. So I'm really, really glad that we got a chance to properly sit down with it in its final form. But if you want to see more from us, if this is your first time watching Dicebreaker here on youtube.com/Dicebreaker, you can hit the subscribe button and click the bell icon to get notified whenever we put a new video live. You can see more of Matt, who will be writing all sorts of things about how much he loves Cole Wehrle's games over on Dicebreaker.com, along with all of our fantastic contributors. And you can also grab some exclusive merch from Dicebreaker.myshopify.com. So thanks very much for watching. We'll see you on the next video. And until then, have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.